What if the stillness from the Bay this offseason is the calm before a storm that could rewrite Golden State's fate forever? Welcome back to Warriors News Fan Report, where raw truths collide with splash-era passion. Smash that like button. Subscribe and ring the bell so your heart never misses a beat. The dust has barely settled on another bittersweet postseason journey, and yet the chatter around the Warriors offseason feels almost deafening in its silence. Out of all the Western Conference playoff teams last year, the Warriors stand. Uniquely, still no blockbuster signings, no high-profile trades, just a quiet extension of Jonathan Kuminga's qualifying offer and a couple of late second-round gambles from the Kevin Durant deal. That's it. While other franchises have raced out the gate, Golden State seems stuck in neutral, but beneath this eerie calm, the front office is hunting, their eyes locked on a handful of potential game-changers who might just rescue this offseason from becoming a lost chapter. The landscape is brutal. Quality free agents are all snapped up, trade candidates guarded like gold, and the clock is ticking with only 2 years left on what feels like the Warriors' last true title window. Stephen Curry, Draymond Green, and yes, even Jimmy Butler, the latter whose fiery trade last season transformed the team's record, but still fell short at the hands of Minnesota's young Timberwolves. 2 weeks in the free agency madness, the Bay Area's roster puzzle remains unsolved. Who could be the missing link, the spark to light a new fire under this veteran core? First up, there's Lauri Markkanen, the Finnish sharpshooter whose value has dipped in Utah but whose ceiling remains tantalizingly high if he finds the right playmaker, the kind of profile that screams fit with Golden State's pace and space philosophy. The Warriors have shown through Quinton Post's promising rookie stretch how they can turn stretch big men into offensive multipliers, yet acquiring Markkanen won't be easy. The Jazz likely crave draft capital or a sweetener like Kuminga. And it's a gamble risking promising youth for a potential star who needs to rediscover his rhythm. Could the Warriors really sacrifice Kuminga, essentially part of their future, for a shot at instant impact? Next, Nic Claxton enters the picture, a rugged, durable center capable of giving vital minutes after losing Kevin Looney. He's a different beast than their usual stretch big setup, more bruiser than shooter. But reliable defense and energy around the rim might be just what Steve Kerr needs to balance the roster. The hitch? Claxton's contract runs 3 years beyond the expected Warriors window, a potential mismatch for a team on the precipice of final title runs. Then there's the tantalizing wild card De'Anthony Melton, whose Warriors tenure has been brief, whose skill set is undeniably intriguing. Hobbled by injuries and a torn ACL, Melton's inconsistent availability clouds his appeal. Yet when healthy, his playmaking, defense, and shooting align perfectly with Golden State's system. Signing him on a veteran minimum might be a low risk, high reward play that stokes the flame of depth and versatility. The whispers of Walker Kessler swirl like smoke through the front offices. A defensive anchor with youth and promise, but a contract extension looming and a high price. Tag possibly 2 first-round picks that could strip Golden State's future assets if they bite. The Jazz's rigidity could create an impasse, but if the Warriors find a way to match salaries and sweeten their package, could they gamble their draft capital for defensive stability? Finally, a name that sends waves through Dub Nation's collective dreamscape whenever murmured. LeBron James, the universe's bittersweet irony, pairing the ageless king with the revolutionary Curry ignites imaginations and headlines alike. The Lakers' uncertain direction might open a fleeting window, but to make room for LeBron, the Warriors would have to part with Jimmy Butler, a trade dense with risk and reward, signaling a seismic shift in leadership and on-court identity. It might seem a fantasy, the stuff of whisper networks and fever dreams, but the possibility is not zero, and in this age of uncertainty, nothing is impossible. As the clock relentlessly ticks, the Warriors stand at a crossroads perched between the ghosts of dynasty greatness and the shadows of future promise. Will these 5 players' Markkanen's scoring finesse, Claxton's defensive grit, Melton's untapped potential, Kessler's defensive intimidator presence, or the rarest prize? LeBron's star power be the lifeline that bridges the off-seasons, void and propels Golden State back onto the championship pedestal? Or does the silence from Chase Center herald a fracture, a dilution of the dynasty's spirit, leaving the team to scramble for scraps while other contenders sprint ahead? As a lifelong Dub Nation believer, my pulse is racing just writing this. Wrapped in hope and anxiety, the kind of pulse that Carmelo Anthony or Draymond Green might have felt after a crushing loss, that Daniel the Man would have felt when blocking a shot with one final breath. But is this the spark that reignites our dynasty, or the crack that fractures our legacy? Drop your unfiltered takes in the comments. I'll be right there, heart in hand. If you just felt that surge of adrenaline, imagining the Warriors making a lightning move to snag one of these players, or watching Steph stare down a contract year like the last shot at immortality, hit the comments fast and let me feel your fire right now, because this offseason's quiet. It's deafening in its intensity, like the eye of a hurricane just before everything blows sky high. And here's the deal. The Warriors are not in some peaceful rebuilding lull. They are simmering, locked and loaded, caught in that brutal limbo where legacy and future collide with every passing day. See, the silence isn't emptiness. It's a strategic heartbeat, a deep breath before the madness erupts. Everybody else in the West is sprinting, but Golden State. We're pacing, calculating, which feels like temptation on the knife's edge. Because what if the hesitation is really the weight of dynasty? We're not watching a franchise just looking for bodies to fill minutes. We're witnessing a chess game staged by a front office that knows this isn't about quick fixes, but the final moves in a game that only a handful of teams even dared to play this decade. But let's not sugarcoat it. This fragile calm has cracked. Because as players like Kuminga and Moody develop, the tension in the locker room tightens. Steph has never been one to shy away from carrying the weight, but we've seen the toll this takes behind those piercing eyes. Draymond? He's been the engine, the fiery voice, but even he is wrestling with a shifting role as time and injuries pull tighter on a roster that demands fresh legs and fresh minds. What if that's the real source of the off-season's hush and internal reckoning, where leadership battles for identity, where younger talent quietly flashes potential, but the veteran core wrestles with fragility? The whispers about Lauri Markkanen? They're more than noise. They're a signal that the Warriors crave offensive gravity outside Steph's pull, a sharpshooter who drags defenses to the rim and opens the playbook. But letting go of Kuminga or Moody for Markkanen, that feels like gambling the tribe's future for a flicker of present heat. Will that trade pay off? Or will it spiral into a painful what-if for decades? Then there's Ennis Claxton. Call him the bruiser the Warriors desperately need. Tough, durable, a protector around the paint where Kevin Looney's absence leaves a silent hole no one is eager to admit. But plugging Claxton into a system built on pace, space, and shooting could shatter the flow. That contract wrinkle is a toxic puzzle piece in a timeline that screams urgency and flexibility. Can Kerr turn Claxton's strengths into gold, or will it mold the Warriors into a crew caught between their championship DNA and a defense-first reality they swore they'd shed? And Melton injured, inconsistent. But maybe that's the prize hidden in plain sight. A player who, if healthy, could bring the defensive tenacity and playmaking needed on the second unit to stagger the minutes of precious stars. Signing him feels like desperation with upside. A bet that the Warriors' world-class medical staff can flip potential into performance. In a league where depth wins trophies, this move might be the sleeper that jolts the bench off the bench if he can stay healthy. It's a low-risk bet fueled by a hunger that echoes the old Warriors ethos. Unrelenting, gritty, relentless. Walker. Kessler? The whispers around his name have morphed into near roars among rivals. Because the Jazz aren't just holding the price tag, they're hanging future assets on it. And the Warriors, a dynasty staring down a ticking clock, know that. Mortgaging multiple first-rounders for a rim protector isn't just expensive, it's potentially sacrificial. Imagine the pressure in that front office war room, deciding protect the future or grab the now. It's a razor's edge because you can buy defense, but you can't buy time. Then the ultimate, the wildest thread in this off-season tapestry, LeBron. James, forget the headlines. Forget the impossible trade scenarios that make G-Miz laugh and fans dream in fever dreams. This isn't just a trade, it's a seismic upheaval of everything Dub Nation knows. Uniting two generational stars, pivoting the team's culture from Steph's unbreakable joy to LeBron's heavyweight legacy, demanding not only roster logistics, but a tectonic shift in leadership chemistry, play style, and expectations. Swapping Jimmy Butler for LeBron? It's a choice between defensive tenacity and championship pedigree, between the grind and the glory. This isn't LeBron's twilight stroll. This could be his last playoff run, and Golden State might become the stage for a legendary final act or a cautionary tale about chasing stars at the expense of identity. And all of this unfolds with the clock ticking, with other Western Conference contenders building momentum, blending youth and star power while the Warriors wrestle with their own brand of stasis. Steph is in contract purgatory, Draymond's voice chips at the boundaries of the locker room's youthful optimism. And Kuminga's raw flashes tease us with the possibility of a new wellspring of winning blood. The tension in Chase Center is electric and unbearable because every moment wasted in silence feels like a betrayal of everything we've known since the Steph, Clay, Draymond, Jordan Bell days. Every breath without decisive moves feels like watching a dynasty edge closer to fragile extinction. But remember, this is Golden State, a franchise that once took an unlikely arc from bubble underdogs to three-time champions by reinventing the game itself. What if this offseason is the prelude to another reinvention, a shakeup so immense? It rewrites not just roster charts but the destiny of Dub Nation. What if the low hum of tension is actually the crackling of a thunderstorm, poised to explode into the kind of offseason that reminds the league who built the standard for excellence? An innovation? Hear me clearly, this is not just a rerun, it's a reckoning. The questions hammer at us: can Steve Kerr navigate these treacherous waters with the surgical precision that won 3 rings? Or is this his most brutal challenge yet, balancing egos, contracts, and the heartbeats of legends in the twilight? Will Steph find a reason to double down, to remind the world why he's the greatest shooter ever, clutch in every clutch moment? Or will the pressure push him into a twilight of quiet dignity, a hero fading? Can Draymond reinvent his role from starter to elder god, mentoring while guarding his own legacy? Or does this signal the beginning of the end for the anchor of the Splash era? And what about the unknown quantities Kuminga? Moody, can they grow not only into players, but leaders to carry this torch forward? Or are they the sacrificial lamb stakes high front office trades demand? Warriors fans, this is a crossroads, fraught with peril and promise. The fan base that rode the roller coaster from we believe to finals dynasty. The ones who remember every missed shot, every clutch triple. We know this story isn't finished. The stillness will break. The silence will shatter. And when it does, it will reveal who the true believers are, the ones willing to ride. The chaos are the ones who watch from the sidelines as a new era dawns without us. As someone whose veins run blue and gold through every heartbreak, parade, and near miss, I feel it deep. This is the moment where all the years, all the glory, all the sacrifice either ignite into legendary resurrection or fracture into bittersweet echoes. So I'm throwing down the gauntlet right here. Drop your rawest, realest, no-holds-barred takes in the comments. Who's the missing piece? Who's the ghost in the machine holding back our next run? Can we trust this silence, or is it the death knell of a dynasty? Whatever you believe, I'll be right there, tab open, waiting for the heat, the hope, and the heartbreak. Let's light up Dub Nation one more time. This is not just Warriors news. This is our story, our fight, our future. The FOMO is real. Yes, but beneath it all simmers a burning belief that even at their most vulnerable, the Warriors have never been just a team, but a culture, a brotherhood, a force that refuses to be caged by age, injury, or doubt. Whether Horford dons the blue and gold or fades quietly into legend, whether Bryant becomes an unsung hero or a reminder of what might have been, Golden State's path will be forged not in safe choices, but in the furnace of risk and relentless ambition. This is the moment where the true Dub Nation spirit reveals itself, not in the highlight reels or trophy glints, but in the unyielding faith to embrace chaos, to roar through adversity, and to believe that our dynasty story is far from finished. Now it's your turn, no fluff, no filter, no holding back. Drop your hottest, rawest take below. Is this offseason the last breath of a dynasty or the quiet before the thunderous rise? I'll be in the comments, heart pounding, ready to go. Toe-to-toe with every passionate, broken, hopeful, fevered voice in the greatest fan base in the world. This is Warriors News Fan Report, where the pulse of Dub Nation never quits.